Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. A very warm welcome to this, the Fearless Entrepreneurs interview series. And we've got such a great topic for discussion today. And I know that you're going to get so much out of it. I'm going to kind of put my hands up and say that we are having some connecting challenges at the moment. So Shari is trying to get here. She has been here, but the internet connection's just been a little bit wonky. So I'm just jumping on, going to kind of open up this broadcast, get us started, and I'm sure Shari will be joining us very, very soon. This is just the way it goes with technology. So Nicola's saying that she's got no sound. Carol's here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Right, we've got Shari, I believe.
Hi.
Right, let's give it another go. Woo! We're all in the house. Morning, Samantha. Morning, morning, morning. So Nicola, who hasn't got any sound, I don't know what to say about that. Let me just check in with the people who are here. Oh, Nicola's cracked it. Right, brilliant. So good morning, good morning, good morning. So who's excited about this interview? Who would love to know how you can keep growing your business in just 15 minutes a day? Post in the comments below. Let's make sure that this is a super engaged session. This isn't just Shari and I rocking up, talking to you. We want for you to get as much out of this as possible. So please use the comment boxes, come and say hi, come and make Shari and I feel like we're not just talking to ourselves about this, although we'll be very, very happy to chat about this content. So important. So brilliant. We've got lots of people joining. Okay, so I'm going to just do the kind of introduction bit and then we'll get straight into talking to Shari, because that's basically what we're here to do, isn't it, today? So as I kind of kicked off last week with this interview series, is that I am, a business coach for female entrepreneurs who are all in to growing their amazing business and living the most extraordinary lives. And I have the absolute pleasure of meeting, working with, and being connected to some of the most inspirational, amazing female entrepreneurs out there in the world. And I just decided that actually what I wanted to do for my audience was to bring you those inspirational stories and to connect you with those women, just like Shari, who are more than happy to share with you the truth behind growing your business and to share the strategies that will actually help you. So this isn't a load of smoke and mirrors. This isn't a load of BS. This is the truth. This is how Shari grows her business, and you will understand once you've met her why this is so important to her and why she brought this into her life. And she's definitely brought it into my life. I've had more freedom this year than I've ever had in my business before. I was very committed to working several silly million hours a day, and it doesn't need to be that way at all. So Shari, as I have shared, is one of my coaches. I know that people find it really difficult to put their hands up and say who's supporting them in business, but I have absolutely no problem in sharing with you today. I don't really understand why people keep it such a secret, but I decided not to. So, sorry, Shari.
Oh, sorry, I think there's a delay. I just said me neither. I don't understand either.
It's kind of like, it's a real proper sisterhood, really, isn't it? It's kind of like not everybody's for everybody else. And I think that we can be very much in our own zone of the people who are around us and who are supporting us. And it's always nice to see who else is out there, because they will bring something equally valuable into your business as well. So Nicola says that she's ready with her notebook. She's prepared for some good tips here. That's great, because she was here yesterday last week with Kelly, and I know that she got so much out of it. So let me just introduce you to Shari, and just to let you know that Shari has got a really fabulous business resource that she's going to share with you at the end of this interview. So it's definitely worth waiting until the end of the interview to make sure that you grab that resource as well. So Shari is a marketing miracle, and she supports her clients to create a business and a lifestyle that really supports your dreams. And as she goes through her interview, through content, through a story, you're going to really understand why that's so really important to Shari. She loves to take on life and challenges, and you've just, this year, the things that you're putting in place for 2018 is so exciting. You definitely love an adventure, super ambitious and driven, and again, that will definitely come through in what you're going to be sharing with us. And I met Shari back in 2015 when we were both part of Telesummit a while ago now, and that's how I was first connected to Kelly as well. He was the first woman up on this interview series, and it just seemed a really natural step to come and work with Shari this year when I was looking to grow my business, because Shari is all about growing your business but without the hard hustle. It's more of a gentle hustle, and whatever it is, it really works as well. And I'm absolutely delighted that Shari is here today, and she's going to be sharing her story and her content and answering your questions as well. So as we go through this content, please use the comments box to share your ahas or your biggest takeaways or your questions, because that really helps Shari and I in this interview process to kind of know that we're on track. Otherwise, it kind of can just be a lot of talk. So Shari, welcome here today, this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute honour and privilege. I think my internet is a bit shaky, so there may be a delay, and if I freeze, hopefully it'll be a flattering pose, and if I break up, then just give me a nudge and I'll do what I can to reboot or whatever. But thank you for having me.
No, it's my pleasure. It's the second time I've interviewed you actually, Shari. You know, the first time was probably about 18 months ago. So it's really nice because I think there's been such a shift in your business and your life during that time that you've got even more to share with my audience. So I really wanted to just get into your story of how you became an entrepreneur, because I know that this is going to really resonate with so many women here who are live and who are watching the recording back as well.
Okay, great. So I tell this story in so many different ways every time I say it, so I'm just going to go with what comes to mind now. So when I was 18, I think 18 was very catalytic, if that's even a word, year for me. And I decided that I was going to have a marketing agency called Green Jelly, and I also decided I was going to have a baby boy called Archie, having been told 3 years previously that I would never have a baby. So I made some big manifestation goals that year, and I then went into corporate world like you do. So I did my marketing degree, ended up being senior management in a construction company. So from there I went into engineering, so very male dominated industries on the whole, and learned a whole lot in that process. And then I found myself 6 months pregnant with my miracle baby. I was a single mum at that point, and I was living 200 miles away from my support network and my family and friends. So I moved back and worked all the way through maternity. So I was leaving my miracle baby for 3 days a week with my parents and commuting 400 miles every week. And I was working a pub job to make ends meet and all this kind of stuff. So I was in the hard working, none of it felt good at all. So I realized I had nothing to lose other than to open a business. So I started Green Jelly Marketing when Archie was 4 months old, and I had to do it in a really covert way. My director from the company I was employed in lived in my area. So for a marketing company, I had to be a little bit under the radar and go and do loads of networking and build relationships. You know, for me, connection's really important. And that's what I did in my business at that point, and grew the agency really successfully by only connecting offline with people. I didn't do any marketing. In fact, I do very little marketing even now for the agency. because the relationships that I had put in place at that point are still serving me to this day. So what I realized was that I was attracting a lot of male-dominated people into my world, into my agency, a lot of male-dominated industries, so a lot of construction, engineering. And I really had this yearning to work with females in business, because that's what I understand. That was my journey. And particularly for mamas, when you're doing the whole juggling act, it's a whole different ballgame. And so over the past couple of years, I've been working moreover with females in business to bring out what I call of marketing. It's the new paradigm of marketing, to work in a way that allows you to create a business that builds your version of freedom, but also a business that feels good in the journey of building it, and also kind of taps into your core desired feelings of what it is that you want to feel, what it is that you want to emanate out in the world. And so that's what I've been doing over the past couple of years, with a kind of masculine structure in place behind it. So I'm also training with ClickFunnels to become certified with them, and do a lot of work with Facebook ads and traffic driving, because that's kind of the structure that allows the freedom. So yeah, I guess in a roundabout nutshell, that's me.
And I bet I mean, again, it'd be really interesting with the audience to actually know how many people this really resonates with, you know, how many people have actually set up the business because of the children or because of the freedom that they want to experience. But then what happens when we kind of build these businesses is that we disappear under all the things that we have to do, and all the strategies and the actions and all the time we spent on social media. So I think the kind of core of this call, where you're sharing how people can do this so gracefully but in such a small amount of time, is cool. And I love hearing how, you know, you do very little marketing, and that's the gracefulness of it all, isn't it?
And it's understanding really that marketing is as complex or as simple as you make it. And actually marketers do a really good job at making it seem more complicated and making it seem overwhelming. And I'm not dissing marketers at all. That's kind of the nature of the beast. That's the job. But you can simplify all of it by understanding the core principles. And, you know, when I first started in business, I was working a full-time job. I was working a part-time job in a pub. I was a single mum with Archie. And all of a sudden, I'm in this space where I don't have any resource or support like I did in the corporate world, and I don't have any budget. And so I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I turned to the Oracle, like I think we all do. And bear in mind, this is 6 years ago now. So the Oracle at that point was Google. And I started consuming all this information of the people that I assumed were doing well in business. And so you get kind of caught under this free information, strategic, the proven blueprint and the proven strategy trap. And you start thinking, okay, well, I'm learning all this stuff and I'm trying to implement, trying to do all these things, but actually I'm just massively overwhelmed. And then, so what I started to do was to go through this, okay, well, if I'm not getting the answers from this and I'm not moving forward, then I need to get the courses, because obviously all the courses have the answers, and I'm going to be able to then put a proven blueprint in place, and it's going to be miraculous, and I'm going to be in 6 figures in 23 minutes. So then I buy all the courses. And I'm still overwhelmed, and I'm still juggling all these things, and I'm not moving forward. And now I'm even more broke than I was to begin with. And actually, the biggest thing that happened to me then was, I remember Archie was about 3 months. It was about 3 months after I'd started the business. And I'd got so burnt out at this point that I could not move. Literally all of a sudden, within half an hour, I was cramped up, my fingers wouldn't move, I couldn't stand up, I couldn't even move to look after Archie. And I had to call, luckily I have very good support around here, so I had to call my parents, and they came and helped and took me to hospital and looked after Archie. And I was so burnt out that, that was a big wake-up call for me. And then when I had that time out, it wasn't time out that I chose, but it was time out that was forced on me, I realised that actually I was sacrificing that I wanted in this beautiful baby that I was told I would never have, and I was so determined to have him that I was sacrificing all my time with him by being in this state of overwhelm and hard hustle for the business. And I had to do something about it. Like I had to change it pretty quick at that point.
So again, I'd be really interested to know who's resonating with this, because I think it's a really important point that you've raised, Shari, that we all are bombarded all the time with all of the courses and all of the signature this and blueprint that, and you can very easily get really caught up into believing that you're not good enough yet to grow your business, to be the person that you want to be, and to haul in the business that you want. And as you said, you had that time out that was forced on you, and it gave you an opportunity to really reflect on what you did want. And when you started to listen to that, things changed for you. So just thinking about some of the challenges, I mean, you talked about your own personal experience, but you work with female entrepreneurs. What are the kind of key challenges that you see other women struggling with? Is it similar to what you've shared already? Is it a bit of everything else that's going on as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very similar, and everybody has their own challenges, but on the whole, there's a lot of overwhelm. Yeah. There's a lot of passion about moving forward, but we're kind of in this world now where the only way to move forward is by having this massive complex funnel in place, which is overwhelming to think about, which is tech heavy, which is not necessarily going to generate you results immediately. Like, it takes work to get a funnel to work, and that's not the way it has to be. We're surrounded by all these proven formulas, and that in itself becomes, like, I find it really heavy now, actually. I find it such a heavy energy to be in, that I've had to step away from a lot of things that I would normally have used as a resource, because I understand now that there are principles to marketing that are never going to change. Like, the tools and the techniques and the tactics and everything that overlay it, they can change, and they can change however you want them to. And I genuinely feel that if you pick the right tools and the tactics for you, then it's always going to feel good, because your energy is the thing that carries the connection and allows you to show up in a way that feels good for you. And that has so much more power than doing the tools and tactics that other people tell you that are the biggest thing that's going to explode your business, or the things that work for them, because everybody's different. So there's no one size fits all. But if you understand the basic principles that underlie all of it, then you're still going to have massive results, because it's in tune with you. Like, don't get me wrong, I am a bit of a rebel, so I like to break the rules and kind of explore what's really going on. But ultimately, like, if you feel good about your marketing, you're going to show up more consistently, which is what makes good marketing. You're going to connect on a much better level, which is the essence of marketing. And you're also going to find something that works for you instead of what's worked for somebody else. And that really is where the power of working out your own marketing, like your marketing miracles, I call them, because that's what gives you the results that are really going to happen, instead of looking for like the big bang. I think it's I want to say Liz Gilbert, who says, we're all too busy looking for the big bang instead of looking at the miracles that are right under our nose all the time. And that's kind of the same with marketing, where we're too busy looking for the next big funnel that's going to make us a millionaire, instead of looking at the small actions we can consistently take that are actually going to grow our business, not only now, but in the future as well.
So one of the biggest takeaways that you've just said to me there, Shari, and certainly something that we've obviously been working on in the past year and a bit longer actually, is actually that marketing is important to our business. But what's more essential is that whatever we take forward as individuals with our own individual character and kind of desires, is the ability to step into our own confidence and to deliver our marketing in a way that is in complete alignment with who we are and who we want to be in the future, rather than trying to run around doing everything that everybody else seems to be doing.
Absolutely. And also, here's the thing, that everybody is like, everything I see is around freedom businesses, and everybody makes the assumption that for you a freedom business is sat on the beach and working 2 hours a day. Well, that is not a freedom business for me. So in the early days, a freedom business for me was having the flexibility to be there for Archie around his days at nursery, or if he was poorly and all that kind of stuff. For me now, a freedom business is about being able to travel, which we do a lot. And actually in January, we're moving to Bali to start our world schooling adventure. And so that is a different kind of freedom. But that doesn't mean I want to sit on the beach and only work 2 hours a day, because I love doing what I do. The freedom part for me is about being able to world school and to explore and to have archery experience, all that alongside me. And the freedom, again, is for me to choose how I show up, who I wish that I deliver. And so everybody has their own version of their business and what their ideal business looks like. So you're never going to have a one-size-fits-all business model, let alone marketing, that go with that, because everybody's so unique in what they desire and how they want to show up and what they want to get out of it, that how can you? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Absolutely. And there's so very few people sharing this. So, I mean, we've looked at kind of your story and what's led you to this point. And you've shared like your vision and your plans for 2018, which is absolutely amazing that you're stepping into this role of world schooling archery, which is going to be such an incredible adventure for you both. And the fact that you're going to Bali, thankfully you're not going to Bali now with the near eruption.
Well, we were supposed to actually leave. Originally, we were going to leave on the 23rd of November. And I was reminded yesterday that somebody is obviously looking out for us, because we have, like, circumstances mean that we're not leaving until January. But it's also a reminder to be grateful and to trust in the process, which is what I asked for. The lessons I asked for this year was to trust. And I got held back from moving to Bali and got really grumpy about it. But now I know that my trusting in the process, somebody's got a better plan for me, so that's fine.
That is fine. We all would rather you were here and not in an island that was going through a live eruption, however exciting that might be.
Yeah.
So I love the idea of what you've shared here. You know, when we talked about what you could bring to this interview, there was like, there must have been at least 4 topics. And what I decided would have been of really great value for my audience and the people watching this is understanding how you can grow your business exponentially in just 15 minutes a day. So rather than us all getting caught up in the doing, just focusing on those key things. But what I'd love for you to explore is, you know, how is this possible?
Okay. So it's kind of like I said earlier, you know, when we get hung up on what is going to be the next funnel that's going to have so many different variations and all these different lists that are hung off it, that, you know, that's such a big task to put in place in your business, that it's so overwhelming and daunting that we don't even start doing it. So we're in almost procrastination all the time. But when you break it down and look at what actually needs to happen in a business to market it in a way that is going to allow it to grow consistently by doing one thing. So one thing that I do today that's going to take 15 minutes will still have the same impact in a year's time, and it's going to kind of have that exponential growth attached to it, because we're breaking marketing down into bite-sized pieces. It's that whole adage of how do you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. Well, it's similar with marketing. You don't build a funnel all in one go. It's one bite at a time. And I'm not saying that that's to build a funnel or to create a website or to whatever it is. There's so many things that you can do that will only take 15 minutes at the most. But if you build it into your business as a habit that you do every single day, 15 minutes every day, and making sure they're the right actions that you're doing, what begins to happen is you start to see the effects of the compound effect, which is where you're doing the same actions, but the results get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's not a linear growth. This is where the exponential growth comes in, because the compound effect has so much more power. So if you commit to the habit of doing the right actions every single day in your business, then the growth that you see is going to be enormous.
I love that. I love the idea that you just keep on doing the thing that works well for you in your business. And you just keep, because so many of us get distracted and start to have that shiny object syndrome, where we start to think that something else is the next big thing. But it's like keeping the faith, isn't it? It's keeping the faith. This is the journey that I'm on. This is the strategy that I'm committing to, trusting, if we want to use your word for this year. And this is what's going to, get that growth that's coming in the medium and the long term.
But it's this whole thing that we don't spend the time looking at the things that are going to bring the best results for our business. So if you have 15 minutes a day looking at the things that are going to bring the best results, and then you spend your time in that space, you can explore all the shiny objects in the world because you've got more time and space to do that, because you're focused on this. Like, you can still explore them, but don't deviate from your lane. And a lot of the tactics that I talk about are kind of mixed between feminine and masculine. So there's a lot of the marketing miracles that I share that are based on what feels good for you, how can you show up in a way that feels good. And then you've also got the masculine, like, here's a good conversion rate, what can we do right now to improve your conversion rate? Like, what's one thing? Let's check your headline, let's check your ad set, let's check your audience. So there's a good balance, because I believe that everything in nature should be a balance, because that's how nature works best, and that for me is how business works best. So by understanding the right actions to take, you're able to really propel your business forwards.
And how does this work out for you in your business, Shari?
Well, it's allowed me to create the freedom that I have right now. So it allows me to, I love marketing. I get the objects all the time, like literally I'm a marketer's dream. Black Friday, I've had to be so self-aware of myself and like what I'm being pulled and compelled to buy, and be really strict. Don't get me wrong, I have bought some stuff, but I have made them very wise business investments. But I find it like, because I've got this focus, because I know what I'm doing, I can explore these different things. But every day I'm showing up consistently, because for a long time I wasn't practicing anything that I was preaching, and I wasn't feeling like integrity is really important to me. So if I'm not in integrity, I won't talk about it. And even though I knew I could share this wonderful thing with people and allow them to grow their business in a way that feels good and gets good results, I couldn't get it out there because I wasn't in integrity with any of it. So now I've put it in my business. It's propelled my business forward in a way that I am fully stepping into my message and putting products and services out there that are really aligned with me, and they're like selling so fast with minimal marketing, ironically. But it's because I've done the foundational work behind it to allow me to know the bits that need to be in place and how to step into full alignment. And 15 minutes a day, I'm happy with doing that, and I can still build my business around it and serve clients in a way that also allows me to have time for myself and go to the gym and meditate and do yoga and all the things that I never did before to look after myself. So it's had a huge difference in my life, actually, not just my business.
Yeah, I was just reflecting there thinking, well, this isn't just business changing, this is life changing. And, what I loved is that you could have been out there selling this, but when you weren't walking your talk, but now you are properly fully in flow and you are walking your talk. Just look how graceful it is for you to sell your products, your services, and to work with those people who are called to come and work with you as well.
Absolutely. Yeah,
it's so powerful to get into alignment. I think so. We forget about that. We forget about that, our own intuition and our own desires, and we get stuck into the doing. So actually taking a step back and being in full alignment and only doing the things that make you feel amazing. That's exactly what I wanted to do on a Monday morning. I wanted to feel amazing. I wanted to be high vibe. What better way to kick off a Monday than actually run an interview series with amazing women and pulling, an audience together who are equally benefiting from this content.
Yeah, definitely. And I think for me, the thing about business that everybody forgets, not everybody, most people forget, is that the foundational piece for me is always about your energy, about your alignment, about your core desires, about your your big picture. What is it that you actually want to achieve? What are the boundaries you want to put around it? Because we need to protect that, because we can't spread our energy too thin everywhere. We have to protect our energy. So we're always going to show up in our highest energy and serve in the best way that we can. And these are the things that need to be done before anything else gets done, before any of the doing. Get the foundations right first.
Fantastic. So just before we conclude today's interview, I'm just going to ask the audience if they had any questions that they wanted to ask myself or Shari whilst Shari is here. And Shari, just as we're kind of coming to a natural close for today, I would love for you to let people know how they can keep connected to you, how they can find out more about your marketing miracles.
Okay, well, I am on Shari Thompson is my personal profile and my business profile. They're all in the same, so connect with me wherever you feel called to. And also, if it's right now, shall I share about the Marketing Miracles playbook?
Yeah.
Shall I do that now?
Yes, please. Okay.
So I have compiled a Marketing Miracles playbook. The emphasis is on the play because business should be fun, right? So let's spend an hour together through the playbook. Give me an hour of your time and I will give you a taster of 4 Marketing Miracles so you can get a little bit of a taster of the power of these in your own business and how you can start to implement small bite-sized chunks and get the big results moving forward. So the address for that is sharithompson.co.uk/miracles. And I think we'll probably be able to put a link in, won't we, Rachel, for that as well?
It's there!
Ta-da! As if by magic.
Two clicks, that's it.
I would love you to come and experience, you know, what Marketing Miracles actually are all about, because it's that whole thing. I heard somebody say the other day, how do you get somebody to, if you're selling magic beans, how do you get somebody to experience the magic beans? The only way is to experience it. So come and experience it for yourself and see, you know, how that resonates with you.
Fantastic. That's great. Thank you, Shari, so much for coming and sharing your story and sharing your content and this free resource as well. I recommend that anybody who is resonating with this actually does that. Just download this handbook. It's going to be well worth your time. And if you too want, like Shari, you want to have more freedom to chase your desires, you know, what better way to get started than to actually download that resource. So thank you so much to everybody. Thank you, Shari, for coming. I know that you are a very busy lady, so I really appreciate you coming and sharing your content with my audience today.
It's my absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And for everybody else, if you have loved this content and you want more, I will be bringing you a brand new interview next Monday at 10:30. And you can keep connected with me either here on my Facebook page or over in my free Facebook community, which is Live Your Abundant Life. Until next time, bye for now, everybody.